We're remembering a giant in the industry on this episode of IBPSIA Hot Topics, plus some valuable information for all you pro shop operators out there when it comes to setting up your shop. Let's go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of IBPSIA Hot Topics. I'm Andrew Pfeffer, host and producer of Bowling with the Pfeff, here with Executive Director Terry Howe. And Terry, why don't you tell us about our guest today?
Well, today you're going to get some high energy because we have our Supremo Unicorn president, Mr. Peter Somoff. He's actually from Seattle, Washington, but he's very rarely home. He's coming to us from Berlin, Germany today, where he is over working with the pro shops on the other side of the pond. Good morning. Good afternoon, Peter.
Oh, sorry. I was just sleeping. Enough of the high energy. Hi, guys. Hope all's well.
Yeah. Peter, can you give us kind of a high-level synopsis of what you're doing over there?
Well, when Storm first started, to get any type of notice and all that, it was hard getting people to try our products. I would go all over the world. And my philosophy was, instead of just saying, here's a ball, try it, I would actually get in with the pro shops. We have somebody in Asia, Robert Dong, for the longest time, who takes care of that. And what we've always done, speaking of with my Storm hat on, is put people where they are, what region they're from. Is, all the sales guys in the U.S. are, we have a southern guy from the southern part, the eastern guy from the eastern part, so they can relate with the people. Well, I'm first generation in the United States, and Europe is, Germany primarily is where I come from. And so it's easier for me to relate to everybody there. And so that's what I do. I've done it for 30 years now. And so you build relationships with people, you learn what's going on. And that's what I'm doing here. So this is a little bit of a different tour because of what happened with Bill, our little tragedy there, that this is more of a, we're going to be okay. Relax, relax. All's good. Where it was supposed to be set up originally, where instead of just coming into a pro shop, I would say a full day with them and work with them and help them out. Not as, let me show you how to do this, but rather assisting them and empowering them and making it so their customers, the old rule, the closer you are to home, the dumber you are, right? And they live with that. They live with seeing the same people all the time. So that's just how it is. I have the same thing when I'm in Seattle. I don't know anything. I have to come here to get a little bit of, pats on the back. But that's what I'm doing here.
Sure. Yeah, keep your Storm hat on for a little bit here because we do want to remember.
I gave everybody Storm shirt on, so I'm ready to go.
There you go. We want to remember Mr. Chrisman. A lot of us didn't have the opportunity to meet him or get to know him like you did. What should we know about Bill Chrisman and the mark he left on this business?
I'm still wrestling with that. I have zero closure because I saw him 2 weeks ago, and we just had our normal, bantering a little bit for 3 minutes. Storm's a very different place than it used to be when Bill and I started it. You get in and get your stuff going. There's a lot of things to be going on there. And so when I left, and we don't speak on the phone that often because we're both busy, it's not like it's hard for me to recognize that he's not around because it still seems normal, if you get what I'm saying. Bill was the most authentic person that I know in bowling and gave more than anybody I know. And, it took years to realize that he was much sharper than I ever gave him credit for. At the time, you think you kind of know, but he came in the industry, both he and Barbara, not knowing anybody. Now, he had bowled before. He was very active in Utah. And they made a product called You Clean, You Score. And his friend Keith Orton, who was making balls at Hammer, it's all in that area, left and started Excalibur. And that guy took advantage of that. And then he came to Bill and asked if he wanted to try to make a bowling ball. And then that's what happened. And then they came to Seattle, and I got involved in the very, very beginning before it was even Storm. And as the company got successful, Actually, what he did is a really great lesson for the pro shops, in the fact that he always put everybody first and he was paid last. If he owed material for material, in the early days, we weren't blowing bowling balls out. Rather than make that manufacturer of urethane wait forever, he'd mortgage his house. He'd sacrifice everything multiple times to keep his word and pay people. When we first sold products, and to this day we do this, right? That if you didn't like the ball, we take it back. So, no risk to the distributors, and still was taken advantage of. Both he and Barbara spent countless hours giving back to bowling. He was very much involved with the sport, collected everything. If you go in his office, he had memorabilia of everything everywhere. He loved bowling. As a matter of fact, his ashes, the urn, is in a bowling ball, which is, if that tells you anything. They were that dedicated. Was that dedicated. And he continually worked to make people better. He allowed people to get educated, to move on. He would pay for all those things. He did so much for the USBC, so much for the BBAA, every organization I can think of. You don't know how much of a factor somebody is until they're gone. And if you see the outpouring, the enormous outpouring of respect and love for him, I was even surprised how far that reached. So we lost somebody really great. We lost, as far as the pro shop business goes, or bowling business goes, we lost somebody that was absolutely a champion of the sport. He just spent $150,000 or something like that buying a collection of bowling balls from somebody, I think from the Midwest, who had stuff that you can't imagine. So he was in the middle of constructing a museum right next to the Storm plant of everything in bowling. Now, tell me tell me a manufacturer that's doing that today. Tell me anybody that cares that much to do that. Nobody. There's nobody out there. So as far as a voice for the sport, he was it. Yeah. We'll still carry that on, but it's a huge loss. Huge loss.
Yeah.
And so quickly too. It was one moment to the next. It wasn't like, it'd be different if it was this, there's two ways on that, right? If it's a long illness, you have a chance to say goodbye, but you also watch that person suffer.
Right.
But when it happens in a moment's notice, that's good for them, not great for us.
Sure.
Right. So yeah. I don't mean to be melancholy about this, but I've known Bill half my life. Yeah. So it's a weird thing.
Yeah. Best to everyone at Storm, and certainly the Chrisman family as they work through a difficult time. Terry?
So, Peter, because this whole series that we're putting out here is to assist our members, our associate members, our pro shop members, our technician members, I guess we got to start somewhere, and that would be, what do you think the biggest issue facing pro shop operators are today?
Well, it goes both ways. I try not to see things from one point of view. I think the one thing that is maybe a little bit advantageous from my standpoint is that I'm not in one corner of the country. And I live that life as well. When I had 14 pro shops, or even let's go back up, when I just had the shops in Washington, it was in one region, and I thought I was king of the world and thought I saw things accurately until I got out in the world, and you find out that things are very different everywhere. Then you become a little bit more reasonable in your how you assert things, right? The thing that I see the most is the disconnect between the proprietors and the pro shops. And for example, I'll use this. Bowling got a big, and I don't mean to sound disrespectful or hard, but I'm going to just say it the way it is. In the 60s, all these proprietors thought they were geniuses because they opened the doors and people came flooding in, and they went, "Wow, look how great marketing!" And then as it went downhill, they changed things. They didn't change actually anything. Why would you want to bowl a league if it's the same thing for 25 years? If the menu of the restaurant's exactly the same, if everything's the same, would you go to a restaurant that way all the entire time? No. And then they'll, so now the new thing is we put music on, we blast that out, we change the menu, make it, out of date for today's people. That's not all proprietors. Some proprietors are great, phenomenal. They get it. They understand it's a community. And everybody got a kick in the arm when COVID happened. We all freaked out that the world's going to end and everything's going to go down, right? Well, what happened? When COVID came out, we came out of COVID, who came back? All the league players, all the people that their entire life is based around that social gathering. They came back. Those were the loyal ones, not the kids that come or whoever comes in and just throws a ball once in a while and goes away. Not those guys. And so the bowling centers all over the world did great. It wasn't just here. It wasn't just what you're doing. And I said, and I wrote articles about that saying, okay, now that you got these people's attention again, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to keep them? What do you do to change it? And that's what a pro shop has to do. First of all, the relationship with that proprietor is really important. And that's kind of the reason. And pro shops have to get out of their heads too, right? Everybody's got an organization. The BPAA is an organization that works on behalf of all the proprietors. They get together and go, okay, we might not all agree, but we're going to do these things together, right? And when I talk about IBPSIA, it's always in the sense of, what do I get out of it? Well, it's not always what you get out of it. You want a voice is what you're going to get out of it. It's if you want to keep being picked apart and being nothing, keep doing what you're doing. But we're not as large of a group as we need to be. And if we get a collective group, one voice, maybe we can help change the attitude of the big corporate proprietors and all that. But that's what has to happen. But that has to be also not one-sided. In other words, if you're going to expect more of the proprietor, you can't have this crappy looking, dirty place and have this attitude how you're doing them a favor. I think that's the biggest problem of pro shops and the relationship is they don't see each other correctly. Okay. So the pro shop's benefit to the bowling center is, quite frankly, well, let me go backwards. I'm going to say this. The bowling proprietor has done for the pro shop something that no other businesses do. And the fact is they've created an arena where everybody that walks in is interested in your product. They're all going to bowl, whether they're just going to bowl casually one time or whatever. You have people who are interested in what they're doing. It's not like a mall where you have people walking in and they might just be killing time looking at something. They're all there. Okay. And you have a great spot for that. The bowling pro shop's purpose is to make that person, which the proprietor can't see, is that if they purchase a ball or they purchase shoes or something, they're more likely to play again. Mm-hmm. That's just common sense. I'm not going to spend X amount on a ball and never do it again. Okay. Now, if the pro shop's given a little bit of love and that person is taken on the lane and helped it as opposed to the proprietor complaining about, oh, well, you gave 2 games away and what do we get out of this? And we have to do this. If we're all counting pennies and all these things, and if we're all just concerned about the money, then it never has a chance. I guess that's the whole point. At the end of the day, money is just your report card. It tells you how well you did. If you focus on what you're doing, think about any restaurant you've ever gone to, think about any place you've ever gone to where the focus has been money, you felt it. And you didn't want to go back. When the focus was something else, like they're really into what they're doing, the authenticity of it. That's why we like going to places that are originals. The Hard Rock Cafe, everybody wants to go to the one in London because that was the original one. That was the old concept, the whole idea. The Planet Hollywood thing fell apart because it was about a bunch of egos and they all looked the same. So if you went to one, what was purpose? So bowling has this chance to create something unique. And some proprietors are phenomenal. Phenomenal proprietors.
Peter, like we're really lucky in our center because the energy is amazing, but it's because we've created a family within everyone. It's the
that's not luck, Terry. You created that.
It's the proprietors, the managers, the league officials, the city association, the youth director, the high school coaches. We all meet on a quarterly basis so that we can all work towards a greater good. So, I mean, you have to create that within your center. Just is exactly what you were just saying. You have to create the energy and the value amongst the entire team, not just I'm here, you're there. What are you going to do for me? So I
Right.
agree.
You're creating a community. So the optimal thing they have is a place where you want to bring your friends because you're proud of it.
Exactly.
That's what you're trying to create. And you only can create that by actually being a place you're proud of. So that in my view is the biggest challenge for a pro shop.
Yeah. And that leads really well into our third topic, the best way to set up your pro shop. Obviously, the pro shop operator doesn't want to have that crappy place like you described. How do they start out? How do they do it the most efficiently and to get the best customer experience in the end?
Well, you have to make it unique to yourself. You have to make it what you're into, and that's part of it. Manufacturers will do everything they can to help you. They will. So let's talk about a pro shop, for example. If you're not buried in the back somewhere where nobody can see you, and you're up front, I always thought that the pro shop should be the very first thing you see when you walk in the door, and that's a benefit for the center. Not because this guy's on this pedestal, but let's say we build a brand new center. We spend X about $1 million in there, and we have everything new, and it's all cool. It's all great. It's all very sharp. Fantastic. 5 years it won't be, right? Because there'll be new products out. It'll be dated and all these things. But the pro shop it's a retail store, and retail stores continually have new colors, new items, new things. So just your inventory itself will dress up the pro shop. My absolute number one no is don't have any of your personal stuff in there. It doesn't belong. If you put yourself to this, if you want to be respected like a store, put yourself in a standard as a comparison to real stores. If you walk into Nordstrom's, do you see the employee stuff hanging out there? No, right? It looks, and the reason, let's understand why that is. It's a very selfish reason to have your things out there. Because what you've done is you've created your space. And that makes somebody else feel like, look, we all have friends. We all have places people we've known for years and years and years. I'm sure you guys have had relationships for years. And you'll go somewhere, and let's say they live, 100 miles away or 200 miles away, and you go, come on over and stay at our house overnight. It's your place. It's your refrigerator. Listen, I've known you forever. No matter how comfortable they make it, right? You want to be separated from that. That's how it is. So it's no different in retail. So if you have something that, and a pro shop's an impossible place to walk into. Nobody wants to walk in there because it's a small confined area, regardless how big it is, regardless if it's 3,000 square feet, it's still relatively a small area where you'll be confronting somebody. You'll be seeing somebody, and they're going to ask you how things are. And you're going to know, I'm not an expert, and you're like this, right? So if you have the windows open, I see all these people that have, I've actually gone, this would not surprise Terry one bit. I've gone to pro shops around the country or around the world and just said, why don't you go away? Come back in an hour, 2 hours. And I completely redid their whole pro shop going, now they might hate me. They might hate Storm. 9 times out of 10, it works. And I'll tell you, I think, a good one where, I think I told you this, Andrew, already before, but on the military base, I was trying to think of what to do. He wanted people to walk in to his place. And of course, this was in, what's the one in Maryland? Bethesda, Maryland, because we were there for a, you want to tell you about a Chrisman thing. We were there for a Wounded Warriors event that he sent the entire team. We're all helping people coming back with issues from the military, either mental or actually physical. And Bill sent this team from Storm guys, paid for everything just to help these people. That gives you an indicator, okay? Well, I got to be pretty good friends with a pro shop there. And we're talking, and he had all the stuff. He had all the ball tags and all this. I noticed on the wall, he had all the NFL towels. And I went, well, sure, because people come from all over the country. And I said, I have an idea. I said, just leave me alone. And I took all the towels down. And all I did was I put them in order of conference. I put them in the actual standings of where they were that day. Now, it's not hard to figure out. That's not going to change that much. The top team's not going to all of a sudden be at the bottom. You might have to change a couple right here and there. But what happened was people started walking in to just look at the towels to either brag their team was on top or to look at the standings. And what do you think happened? Now all of a sudden that guy's not so scary anymore. They had a reason to come in and just talk to him. So that's an idea. The other part of that is I would have the windows where you can see everything, not cluttered up with literature. Nobody wants to read a book. And for me, the more you put your own accolades on there, like I've done this and done this, it just shows that you're insecure. That's all it does. Nobody cares. They assume you have this. And if you want to do that, you have the internet to do it on. But you have to just look around you what other stores are doing. And that's it. Have inventory on hand. In other words, in the back room, as opposed to having your stuff or plug stuff hanging around, have inventory there. Inventory is sexy. Nobody wants to order anything. And I know I'm rambling, but I live in an area where I used to have people fight me and say it's the internet. I went, it's not the internet. So I live in Seattle, Washington. Any idea what comes out of Seattle, Washington?
Boeing?
Boeing, that's correct. How about Microsoft?
There
Do
you
you
go.
think people are pretty tech savvy? There's another company, can't remember their name. They sell stuff online. Has to do with a jungle.
Amazon?
That's it. I couldn't think of it. All right. So I've got people who are Amazon and Microsoft. They're used to doing it. I mean, they were the first doing it. And I would tell them, I said, you know what's faster than Amazon? Here. Take this. People will not shop to compare pennies or dollars if they like you.
Mm-hmm.
They want to belong. And if you don't take advantage of them, I had this in Hawaii. I have a place in Hawaii for years. There was a mall, Kukui Grove, and they just absolutely torched all the locals because they could, because there was no advantages. Then Walmart came in. And I'm a proponent of Walmart, but that changed the philosophy. Then a Home Depot came in, and a Costco came, which, for us, it's on the island of Kauai. That was front news of the newspaper, this one store opening. But it changed the whole idea, right? So if you're fair with people, okay, and you don't have to we don't play the internet game. And quite honestly, we've created such a following, and it's not me, it's the guys that work with me, that nobody shops at our store anymore. They just say, what do I need? We were told to come here. What do I need? Why is it that the best restaurants, I must be hungry because it's 5:00. I don't know, the best restaurants have lines around the corner forever. In fact, I'll give you another example. New Haven, Pizza New Haven. There's Sally's, Frank Pepe, and Modern. And those guys have been around since the 30s, 20s, right? If you look them up, people wait 2 hours in line to get a pizza.
Wow.
Why do you think?
Because
they're into what they're doing. They're authentic. They're into what we're doing. And that's why we go places. So that's my short answer.
Yeah. No, fantastic stuff. Best of luck to all the pro shop operators out there, of course. And thank you for your insight, Peter. Remember, for more information, feel free to go to our website, IBPSIA.com. And if you like what you saw here, click the like button on this video, subscribe to the channel. We've got a lot more in store here on Hot Topics. From there, we're going to give you a look at the leadership of IBPSIA. Here they are.